There are ghost projects there. Or there were ghost projects.
In all candidness, Your Honor, I think so.
So yung 5 billion na inaward sa Wawaw Builders para sa province Bulacan
First
are
engineering,
all ghost projects.
there seems to be some ghost projects. We're investigating it.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has started its investigation into irregularities in flood control projects nationwide. Only 7 of the 15 contractors on President Marcos's list turned up today, and there were several bombshells throughout the hearing. Among them, DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan admitting that ghost projects in flood control do exist. Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes has tonight's big story.
There are ghost projects there. Or
I
there
think so,
were
Your
ghost
Honor.
projects.
In all candidness, Your Honor, I think so.
This was DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan admitting to the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee that ghost projects in flood control do exist. Bonoan also insisted he is just learning about them and that he's ordered investigations. All 15 contractors mentioned by President Bongbong Marcos that bagged the most number of projects were invited to the hearing. But only 7 turned up, so lawmakers will be subpoenaing the other 8. One of those who turned up today, QM Builders, was subjected to intense scrutiny. Lawmakers questioned how QM Builders was able to secure large contracts despite being just a sole proprietor under the owner Alan Quirante. DPWH said they allowed Quirante because he has a Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license. Further, Quirante argued that his net financial contracting capacity amounts to 40 billion pesos.
Ilang project ang na-execute mo na?
Marami na eh.
O kanina sinabi mo, hindi ka pa nakapag-umpisa eh. Meron akong hawak na martilyo rito, sinasabi ko sa'yo.
Mr. Chair.
Huwag kang tatawa-tawa kasi hindi nakakatawa ito ha.
Mr. Chairman.
Dito lang nagsisinungaling ka na eh. 40 billion pesos.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh. Naniniwala ka, Mr. Senator?
Tinoon na, bay. Ha? May 40
yes.
billion ka.
Yes.
Nakadeposito sa bangko na. Unsa man na?
Asset yan. Kasi yung NFCC, kinocompute ng times 15 yon, Mr. Chair. Halimbawa, may 1 billion ka sa bangko. Pwede ka sa 15 billion. So, halimbawa, may pera ka sa bangko na 2 billion, ibig sabihin, pwede ka sa 30 billion. Yan ang computation. Kaya tayo yung pera natin, kasama na yung mga assets, more than 2 billion. Kaya i-multiply natin ng 15, abot ng 40 billion. Kaya kami monta hanggang 40 billion.
But Senator Win Gatchalian pointed out that 5 of the 10 named contractors bagged projects worth much more than their capital. He based it on the company's own reported paid-up capital to the SEC.
Kagaya ho ni itong Centerways at Wawaw Builders, 5 billion and 4 billion, but ang kanilang capitalization is only 90 million pesos, 45 million pesos and 50 million pesos. But in the PCAB, kailangan at least 1 billion pesos yung kanilang net worth. So paano ho, ang tanong ko, paano ho nakakapasok yung mga ganitong, kung undercapitalized siya, obviously yung project papalpak ho talaga. Titipid siya. Yun din napakita kanina na maampaw na project. Walang bakal, buhangin linalagay.
Of the list Gatchalian gave, the contractor MG Samidan stood out. It reported a paid-up capital of 250,000 pesos only, but in the last 3 years had been able to corner more than 5 billion pesos in contracts. Senator Jinggoy Estrada also revealed that by his investigation, there were ghost projects in Bulacan, particularly in Kalumpit, Malolos, and Hagonoy. He alleged there was just one contractor behind these projects, and that's Wawaw Builders. According to Secretary Bonoan, Wawaw bagged a total of 9 billion pesos in projects nationwide from 2021 to 2025. 5.971 billion of these were flood control, specifically in the 1st Engineering District of Bulacan.
Yung 5 billion na inaward sa Wawaw Builders para sa province Bulacan
First engineering,
are all ghost projects.
there seems to be some ghost projects, actually as reported, Your Honor. We're investigating it. They will be coming up with their financial and physical report in 1 week's time, Your Honor, to my office.
Nabayaran na ba yung itong Wawaw Builders?
Yung mga projects na na-complete, yung mga projects that have been filed, palagay ko na nabayaran na po lahat to.
For his part, Senator Erwin Tulfo asked Bonoan if he was aware of any DPWH engineers and regional directors who are contractors themselves or who get cuts from projects.
In-house construction, Mr. Secretary. Kami na lang gagawa, kagaya po na nangyari sa akuan. Kami nang gagawa, ako nang gagawa dahil ako district engineer kasi may construction company.
Will you not also ask how many congressmen are contractors?
Mamaya pa yan sa second round. Kasi sir, sabi for now, kay kami nag-uusap-usap dito, sa DPWH mo makikita ang pinakamayaman na opisyal sa ating bayan. The Department of Public Works. Dati po, Bureau of Customs. Ngayon, Department of Public Works and Highways na. Dahil billion po pinag-uusapan.
He also asked why Cebu, Leyte, Isabela, Albay, Camarines Sur, and Ilocos Norte had huge flood control projects despite these provinces not being in the official list of flood-prone areas in the country.
Binabaha ba? Bakit tayo magpopondo rin sa lugar na ito kung hindi naman po binabaha? It's a waste of money, Mr. Secretary. Waste of time also. Halatang halata ho popondohan mo dito, gagastusan mo na wala namang baha.
Agree completely.
All right.
Senator Mig Zubiri at one point came to Bonoan's rescue, saying that the blame isn't all on DPWH.
The DPWH is not all at fault. Kasi yan, kanina pa, nahiya lang si Secretary, Mr. Chairman. Pero in our conversations together with Secretary Mina, namamanggal yung budget. Iba yung NEP, paglabas po ng ng GAA. Iba ng itsura ng budget, wala na po sila magagawa dahil batas po yan. Kailangan po nilang i-implement yun. That's the elephant in the room. Kaya tama si Toby Chanco sa Kongreso kahapon. Ibigay yung mga amendments from the NEP and after the BICAM. Kasi napakasimple lang po yan
Bonoan said he has relieved the entire 1st District Office of the DPWH and that a fraud audit is underway. Mobile journalist Marimon Reyes, we are One News.
As
Such
you
an
said,
eventful hearing
what was
today.
the last sentence you said? Just now, before the
What I
cameras
said
came on
was,
us.
Diyos mio, nasa flood control pa lang tayo.
Kaya nga.
Still so many other infrastructure projects.
Yes,
It's
we're
just
not
the
even
tip of
looking
the
at
iceberg.
roads yet. But you know what they say, a few of our sources have said that to us, flood control is a new port, right?
Because you can't really see it. It's intangible to the naked eye. A lot of it happens underground, dredging. It's not a building that you can see or a bridge that collapsed, which is more obvious.
So to add on to the findings from today, we also found out that there are such things as in-house construction or in-house contractors. By that we mean district engineers or RDs, regional directors of the DPWH who themselves have contracting or construction companies that participate in the bidding. This was revealed by Senator, I think, Tulfo? Nakalimutan ko na, sorry, because there's so many senators speaking.
They were revealed today, but I guess we have to point out that a lot of people know that this actually is in practice for a long time already, diba? But it is coming in a very formal setting, like Senate hearing. Pawi, what struck you today?
Well, there was that contractor who was being questioned for his, he was given a 40 billion, what do you call that?
Yung ano niya, yung
only worth 2
billion,
what
but-
they call the NFCC net financial contracting capacity when he had about only 2 billion. I say only 2 billion, but really it's a lot of
It's a lot of
large
money.
amount
It's a
money, right?
factorial though. They have to multiply
Times
it.
15.
Times
I get it. But the question there is how much in paid up capital do these companies really have? And the one person who can answer that for us, we have now on the line Senator Win Gatchalian, who also interpolated at the hearing today. Good evening, Senator. Thanks for joining us on The Big Story tonight after such a long day.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, Senator, we are talking about of course, the flood control investigation, the contractors, homing in on your findings today, which is 5 of the 10 contractors have paid up capital that's far less than the amount of contracts that they had bidded for. If I could just pull up the chart. These 5 are QM Builders, Centerways, 888, Wawa Builders, and MG Samidan. And our viewers can see right there yung paid up capital. These are all your numbers. Paid up capital, for instance, for QM is 1.25 lang. But in the last 3 years, they were able to corner over 7 billion projects. Ganun din for Centerways, 45, over 5.1 billion in projects. Wawa Builders, which was mentioned a number of times today, 50 million paid up capital, over 4.2 billion pesos in projects. And MG Samidan, the biggest discrepancy of them all, 250,000 in the latest reported paid up capital, over 5 billion pesos in projects in the last 3 years. What did you make of this?
Well, two things. Number one, according to the PCAB, which is the agency that regulates all of these construction companies, if you are going to take on a project worth 450 million and above, your paid up capital should be at least 1 billion pesos. So you will have the wherewithal to take on big projects. And normally big projects also have big risk. So, and for both sides, for both government and also for the contractor. So the contractor should have the wherewithal to take on that risk. That's the rationale why you have you're required to have big paid up capital. So if you look at that slide over there, a lot of these contractors have multi-billion peso worth of contracts. Even though you divide that into per year, because this is 3 years, they will still have about at least 1 billion plus pesos in terms of project. And a lot of these contractors will only have 50 million pesos in terms of paid up capital. Some of them 1 million pesos, some of them 250,000. And there's also another thing that we saw that some of the contractors are also single proprietor. So maybe you're taking on projects that are worth billion, but the risk is to yourself, not to the corporation. That's also another angle that we are also looking at.
Okay.
Sa DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan, when asked about this, I felt passed the buck over by saying, well, they have licenses by PCAB, right? Meaning you have a license, you can bid for these projects. In terms of accountability, who has the liability here, do you think?
Well, that's why we were asking who gave the notice of award to these companies, to these contractors. And there are 3 levels in terms of bidding procedures and giving notice of award. That's at the district level, at the regional level, and at the central level. So depending on the contract, depending on the size of the project. So in my take, at least it's my personal take, is the district engineers, the regional directors, even the central office should also analyze whether the companies can take on big projects like this, especially multiple contracts. One company will have, let's say, multiple contracts being all at the same time being implemented. So the DPWH, through their districts, through their regional offices, should analyze whether these contractors will have that financial capability, the wherewithal to take on risk. Because if they don't and something happens, it's government that will be at the end of the tail, because it's the projects that will be left hanging. Projects will not be completed, and we see that in the reports. In fact, I saw in the reports a lot of these projects are not only substandard but also delayed. So maybe the contractors themselves are not financially capable in terms of completing the projects on time.
Another thing that came out earlier, Senator, was the fact that, nagsasubcon din yung malalaking contractor, yung mga may wherewithal to have the biggest ticket infrastructure projects, yung mga quadruple A. Sometimes you can notice na ang dami nilang projects. So what they do is they subcon it to other companies using their license to be able to win the bid. And as early as now, are you seeing ways to close this loophole? Is there something that we can amend? Is there something that you can legislate?
We're going to take a look at that. And if you followed the hearing earlier, there were a lot of concepts that our senators raised. For example, like subcontracting or DPWH people implementing themselves. Ghost projects was also plain and simple, admitted by no less than the secretary himself. So the next hearing will focus on showing the evidence. That's most important. We've laid down the concepts, we've laid down what we have heard on the ground, What's important for the next hearing will be evidence or pieces of evidence so that we can substantiate all of these, what I call it, open secrets.
Correct.
Because I think everyone admits and everyone knows what's happening within the DPWH organization. And now it's about time to bring out the evidence so that we can substantiate all of these things.
What about accountability on the part of
Definitely.
the government,
Yeah.
not just on the contractors, because we should have learned our lesson na from Napoles, diba, from Farmally, when these kinds of things happen also. But in terms of yung mga district engineer, regional directors in the DPWH, or whoever does the bids committees, are you planning to summon everyone, or will you just summon like their boss?
Well, it's very difficult to summon everyone because we're talking about 1,000+ projects happening all at the same time. But definitely we'll test a few projects. Local governments, the portal of the president is very effective because the citizenry is now empowered to report projects that are substandard or even ghost projects. So we will take it from there. But definitely the committee earlier is Blue Ribbon, which is the formal name of Blue Ribbon, this Committee on Public Accountability. So someone should be accountable. All of these malfeasance, misfeasance should end up in someone taking responsibility and accountability, and that's what we want to drive at.
Well, Senator, speaking of accountability, Secretary Bonoan did also point out or point to the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board under the DTI, and he said they're actually the body responsible for issuing and accrediting these firms. So will you also be calling them? And what does that signal for you, Senator? Is it a matter of oversight or probably something deeper?
Well, we'll take a look at that. We'll look at the entire picture. But what's important for me is the contracts that were entered into. PCAB is not the entity that entered into those contracts. It's DPWH that entered into those contracts. It's DPWH who audited the projects, accepted the projects, because before government pays you, you have to accept it. So it's within the DPWH organization. So the primary accountability lies with DPWH. We'll look at the other organizations like PCAB, but in my opinion, it's DPWH that should be accountable in all of these things.
And Senator, about these undercapitalized firms, in your opinion, should they be banned already from joining these large-scale infrastructure bidding?
Well, in concept, right now we're still getting more information. As you heard earlier, there was a rejoinder by the alleged owner of the QM builders. We need to analyze the data that he gave to us, and we're also looking at other information, for example, income tax returns, income tax payments, all of these things. So we're looking at the entire picture, whether those contractors are legitimate contractors or they're just being used as fronts for other personalities. So we have to look at the entire picture.
Oh my, that's the other thing I was going to point out, because the problem with reporting only that capital to SEC is it presupposes that they're also lying about their official financial documents, right? So may liability din yan sa taxes in terms of their financial projections.
Well, we're not discounting the fact that these companies might be fronts for other personalities, whether political or people in government. So we have to look at that angle as well. Like I said, we also discovered that 3 out of the 15 contractors are sole proprietor, meaning, sole proprietor are normally business for MSMEs. Normally, you set up a sari-sari store, you're a sole proprietor. But you don't undertake 7 billion project being a sole proprietor, because the liability will fall under you as a person, legally. So that's a lot of risk to bear.
Sorry, sir. What was the third one? Yung 3 sole proprietors are QM Builders,
the other one
MG
is,
Sanidan, and
the other one is Road Edge.
Road Edge. Okay.
Yeah, Road Edge.
And do you think, Senator, in your opinion, earlier, no, sabi ni Senator Marcoleta, he wants to deputize some members of the committee, the Blue Ribbon Committee, para sumama sa mga inspection dito sa mga projects, supposedly ghost projects. The President has assigned the DepDev to investigate instead of the DPWH because they can't investigate themselves. Pero we spoke to Baguio City Mayor Benji Magalong last week. He suggests that it has to be someone like the NBI or the CIDG to investigate this. Ano pong tingin ninyo?
Well, different people will have different perspectives. The NBI is definitely qualified. In our case, we're a different branch and we're after accountability in this sense. So the Blue Ribbon Committee is forming a task force, if you may say that, in order to physically go out and look at these projects. We need to test. We cannot go to all 1,000 plus projects. It's impossible. So we need to be more efficient and see and test, no, which projects are violating rules and violating the law.
To clarify, the sole proprietors, are they allowed to participate in the bidding? I forget about the ethics for a bit, pero legally, are they allowed to, as far as you know?
Legally, they are.
Okay.
Legally, they are. But it's very rare, at least in my experience, very rare that you have sole proprietor bidding for 7 billion projects. So that's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare, but not illegal. So,
Yeah.
But then again, we want to look at the entire picture so that we analyze the how all of these things work in so far as bidding for projects.
You say it's an open secret, and yet today, at today's hearing, I lost track of the number of times Secretary Bonoan said, I will look into that, or that's what I heard, or we are looking into it. So almost as if he's finding all of these out for the first time. Did that strike you the same way?
I think he knows very well. He's a very smart person. He comes from the corporate world. He's a heavyweight in terms of infrastructure and development projects. So he knows very well what's happening. I'm sure that he's treading very carefully in terms of approaching this controversy. But I'm sure the secretary knows this very well. Like I said, it's an open secret. You're in government. If you're doing government projects, everyone knows how this works.
Well, Senator, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Nasa flood control pa lang po tayo. I mean, this is just a tip of the iceberg when it comes to possible infrastructure-related corruption. How far do you want to see this investigation go?
Well, I said in my opening speech that for 2026, we don't want a repeat of what happened in 2025. If these flood control projects are going to be ineffective and a waste of money, we won't hesitate here in the Senate to give the flood control project a zero budget and just put all of the 246 billion pesos to building of classrooms. We're trying to rush. We're trying to close the gap and rush in terms of addressing our education crisis. So if DPWH will not give us a solid argument for this flood control projects come 2026, then we won't hesitate to remove the amounts given there.
Senator, parang hindi rin okay yun because that's going to affect the ongoing projects, right? Because the money from last year doesn't just go into one-off projects. Some of them are continuing.
Well,
right?
This is a signal to them that they have to straighten out. But come budget hearing, we will have to analyze each and every project in each and every account, each and every operating budget. For example, the operation of flood pumps, we also need to analyze that. But my point of the matter here is we're sending a signal that we're very serious and DPWH should not repeat the same mistake. If they are saying that there are ghost projects, then make sure that there's no more ghost projects come 2026.
I wanted to ask you, since na-segue na rin nila into it, yesterday, very heated House briefing, not hearing, between, of course, the new APRO chair, Congresswoman Mika Swansing, and Representative Toby Tiangco from the Independent Bloc. Representative Tiangco has been going around and doing media interviews and basically binubulat-lat niya yung mga modus. But yesterday, nalaman nga natin na parang nagmumukhang walang small committee report. Would you know anything about that, Senator? I think you were congressman also at one point.
Well, Sean, we have this interparliamentary courtesy, and that's the inner workings of the House of Representatives. So, as courtesy and as a co-equal in the legislative branch, I beg not to comment on that because that's their own process. We have our own process, we have our own rules, and as courtesy to one another, we try not to comment on each other's internal rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but to take it further, Senator, if you'll allow
But
me.
in our case, we just passed our concurrent resolution on transparency.
Yeah.
So next week we will have a hearing on operationalizing this. So we'll show the public how we will operationalize the new transparency initiatives here in the Senate.
Yeah, but to press on the point a little bit, Senator, as Senator Miggs was pointing out, it isn't just all on the DPWH. The BICAM is composed of the Senate and the lower house. So the Senate does have some involvement in this. It's just not clear to us at this point because, again, there's a bit of a black hole in terms of the small committee report. For you, what is the Senate's responsibility in all of this?
Well, the small committee, if I understand it, is the internal mechanism of Congress. No? So
Pero sa BICAM.
that's how they operate. That's how they work. Then we respect that. No, we have our own transparency measures here. We have our own mechanisms, and the way we will do things here is we will upload the documents so that the public can follow the changes in the budget along the way. It's not only the front and the end, but the middle is also important. The movements within the budget is also important. And we'll upload that to the Senate website.
Can you confirm, or do you guys already know who's going to be part of the BICAM this year from the Senate side?
It's too early to say because that's going to happen in December. So too
Wala
early
pang-
to say. But definitely, it's too early to say. But I was going to say definitely a lot of members from the Senate. But additionally, but it's too early to say who. No?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're going to be part of it as finance chair.
Yeah,
That's one
yeah,
person
I'll be
for sure.
definitely chairing that committee.
Sorry, yes. So the answer is yes. Okay.
Definitely, at least
Yes,
Senator
yeah.
Win,
Yeah,
right?
because I'm the chairman, so I have to be there.
Okay, so we know who to chase, basically. I'm kidding. We'll leave that there. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight, Senator Win Gatchalian.
Meantime, Leyte 4th District Representative Richard Gomez has got tongue swagging over a Facebook post. In it, he took a swipe at one city mayor, whom he did not name, for making corruption allegations against congressmen while the mayor's own city is facing serious problems. Gomez wrote, "You talk nonstop about corruption in Congress because it's an easy headline. Meanwhile, your city is drowning in problems." He added, "Maybe it's time to fix your own house first before pointing fingers at others. Mahiya ka naman." He also urged the mayor to bring his concerns directly to individual lawmakers instead of dragging the entire House into the controversy. Gomez said the mayor has been, quote, "making so much noise to generate headlines at the expense of all congressmen." Gomez's remarks are believed to be directed at Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong, who has been denouncing large-scale corruption in government infrastructure projects. Magalong famously said that some lawmakers receive as much as 30 to 40% in kickbacks from contractors.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, flood control projects are also taking their toll on the agriculture sector. In Oriental Mindoro, farmers have reported huge losses because of collapsed dikes. We have details of that when the big story returns. Stay tuned.
We spoke to Isabela Governor Rodito Albano on Storycon today and asked him how he felt about being included in President Marcos's list of top provinces with the most number of flood control projects. Take a listen.
Masama loob ko dyan eh. Kasi dapat, instead of number 3 kami dyan sa list, dapat kami naging number 1 eh. Kasi talagang flood-proof ng Isabela. Isabela. Isabela at Cagayan. We have the Cagayan River. Ang Cagayan River, ang pinakamahabang river sa buong Pilipinas eh.
Yes.
It goes through Nueva Vizcaya, konti lang sa northern part. It traverses Isabela going towards Cagayan province. So, kami ang pinakamalaking river dyan. Eh. Kami nangangailangan talaga ng mga flood control projects.
According to Marcos's list, Isabela had some 341 flood control projects in the last 3 years. Albano said the ones that have been built are still working and that it'll take trillions of pesos to fix flooding in Isabela. We asked the governor about ghost projects, but he said he wasn't aware of any in his province. He also says LGUs shouldn't be blamed for anomalies in these public projects because they don't have final say in them and that the allocations come from Congress. Albano, who himself used to be a congressman, says lawmakers often have to get creative to get funding for their districts.
Naging congressman din ako. Minsan pagalingan ng kuha ng budget yan eh. Kasi kung sa district mo, lalo na bali kami, lahat ng ano dyan, lahat ng mga towns sinatamaan ng baha. Nag-erode yung mga sa may tabi ng river, nawa-wipe out yung mga barangay. So, alam mo, yung mga congressman, syempre, pasigatan din yan. Kung gusto mong ma-re-elect next year, syempre, paglalaban mo yung pondo na dadalhin mo sa lalawigan ng probinsya. Kasi di ba yung pie ng government, yung budget, kunyari, nagsabi yung DPWs, meron kaming 128 billion dito, di ba? Pero ito, hindi pa na-allocate sa mga ibang regions. May mga master plan yan. So pagalingan na lang kasi sometimes ina-allocate yung mga pondo yearly na minsan hindi nabibigyan to mga probinsya to, hindi nabibigyan yung mga ibang regions. So pagalingan ng kuha, pagalingan ng pakiusap or kumbaga kung sino yung sometimes kung sino yung nasa administrasyon ngayon, yun na nabibigyan.
And now we're going to speak to another governor. Welcome to the big story, Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernando. Oh, we've got him on the line.
Hello.
Hi, good evening, Governor. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good evening. This is Regina. So we're talking about the flood control projects again. There's a lot of findings from today's Senate Blue Ribbon hearing. Chief of them that there are ghost flood control projects in your province as verified by DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan. He said meron sa Kalumpit, Malolos, and Hagonoy. Can I have your reaction, please?
Okay, actually, patotohanan po yan talaga. Hindi po sila actually nag-ano sa amin. Even the courtesy call, wala silang ginawa sa amin tungkol dyan sa project na yan. Ano po? At nalaman namin, may mga project pa. Nagulat nga din ako. I was shocked. Yun yung nalabas ng Pangulo na 668 projects ng flood control sa lalawigan ng Bulacan. Ano po? At ngayon, nung bumisita kami ng Pangulo, doon mismo sa Bulusan, Kalumpit, nakita namin na talagang hindi tapos at putol. Ano po? And malungkot po dito, doon sa yung palang project na yan, ng flood control ay package doon yung desilting at saka yung dredging. So, ibig sabihin nun, tinanong namin yung kapitan, tinanong kung nakapag-dredge, hindi raw nakapag-dredge. Saan po yan? So, yan po. Kaya, nakita ng Pangulo at binisita namin yung Barangay Frances, ganoon din. Masyadong substandard yung mga ginawa nila. At talagang marurupok talaga sa totoo lamang po. At doon sa sinasabi ni Secretary Bunuan, na mga flood control na ghost, ayan, nakita naman nila. Kasi actually sa kanila yan eh. Sa departamento nila yan. Actually, dapat nga, Hindi dapat nga even nag-cortisol man lamang sila, wala pong ginawang cortisol. Hindi po sinabit sa amin ng mga project na yan. Kaya hindi namin alam kung saan yung mga project na yan, kung nasaan man. Ano po? So paano namin malalaman yan? Eh pala may mga ghost project yan. Hindi po ba naayon sa kanila? Eh ghost project. Yan po yan. Kaya nga po sa totoo lamang, nakakalungkot. Hindi po ba? Kasi nakita naman nila yung dumalawang Pangulo.
Pasensya na, Governor. Honestly, I'm having trouble believing that you're shocked because you've been governor for how long now? 6 years, and before that, you were vice governor. Before you were vice governor, you were a member of the provincial board, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so matagal ng problem yung flooding in Bulacan, and when you tell me that you're shocked that there are ghost projects, parang it's a bit hard to believe, to be honest.
O nga, dagdagan ko lang, no, Governor, yung sinabi ni Regina. Ganun ba talaga yung kalakaran na talagang di dumadaan sa Capitol, sa opisina ninyo?
Actually, ma'am, ganito yan. May mga project talaga sila na ginagawa na lang nila, nagugulat kami, nagawa na. Ano pa, nandiyan na pala yan. So, well, ganito yan. Kundi ko nga po sila pinatawag, noong 2023, hindi po talaga nag-report. Sa totoo lamang. Nang nag-report sila, pinatawag ko sila kasi humingi sila ng PDC resolution, which is the Provincial Development Council resolution, para mailabas yung budget sa 2024. That was 2023, yung pagtawag ko sa kanila. Yan po yan. Talagang hindi po dumaan sa amin. Kaya nga po ngayon, naggawa ako ng ng ad hoc committee ng 2023 Kasi hindi nga dumadaan sa amin 2023.
So,
yan po yan. Yung po Executive Order number 22, series of 2023. Yan po yan. May kanya-kanya po kaming mga papel na ginawa ko, mga kanya-kanya obligasyon tungkol dito sa flood control, dito sa flood na ito at saka dito sa mga drainage po natin. Yan po yan. Kaya nga gumawa po ko ng ad hoc committee para malaman ko yung mga master plan. Na malaman namin yung master plan. Wala akong binibigay na master plan.
Opo, Gov. Naintindihan ko po na may plano rin kayo mag-issue ng EO, no? That requires lahat ng proyekto ay dumaan sa inyong opisina para ma-review ninyo. Pero we're just wondering, just to get some clarity.
Hindi nga po, ganun po yan, ma'am. Hindi nga po dumaan sa amin.
So normal po
yan.
yung
Pagdating kasi sa gaan yan, yan na, ibababa na yan sa DP, pagkatapos pirma ng Pangulo, gaan na yan, yan po yan, sila na yan.
So pwede mag-mobilize ang mga contractors kahit na walang, clearance or mga permits from the Capitol?
Hindi po kami nagbibigay ng permit. Wala po kaming permit. Wala po kaming karapatang magbigay ng permit.
Okay.
At kahit sa mayor, hindi po sila nagbibigay ng permit tungkol dyan. Yan nga po yung proyekto naman DTP na hindi na kailangan bigay ng permit. Maliban lang, kung may batas sa munisipyo, may ginawa silang ordinansa na magbibigay sila ng kukuha sila ng permit kung yun po ay may ordinansa na ginawa ang bawat munisipyo.
So,
pero wala po kami karapatan para sa permit.
Oo, pero balak nyo na rin baka pwede nyo pong kausapin yung mga syudad at munisipyo dyan para lahat sila ay gumawa na lang ng ganong ordinansa para makapagbigay ng permit? Is that part of your plan?
Ngayon po, ma'am, actually, sa totoo lang, kasi mga project ng DP na yan, ang pagkakala po, hindi na humingi ng permit yan. Diretso na po yan May mga project pong ganon. Alam po, ngayon, hindi ba nangalam po kung may batas na ginawa ang mga bawat munisipyo. Pero ngayon, nagawa po ulit ako ng executive order. Ano po? Na lahat ng mga project ng national government, ng mga DPWH, yadaan muna sa amin. Ayan. Para makita ko man lang ang listing. Nakita ko lang.
Pero
yun nga po, kaya nga po pinagpatawag ako ng 2023 kasi hindi dumadaan sa akin
Pero yes, Gov, alam
Tapos
naman natin,
ngayon,
no? Oo. So hindi naman bago ang baha sa Bulacan. In fact, it's one of the most flood-prone provinces. So with that, Gov, never po ba flinag ng kahit anong LGU under your provincial government itong mga concerns on yung mga flood mitigation, mga flood control projects na subpar?
Hindi rin nga po nila alam
Gov?
Even the mayors, even the mayors, narito po ngayon sa Kalumpit, nagbibigay po kami ng relief ngayon. Hindi po rin alam ng mayor ng Caloocan na dumaan sa kanila yan. Wala pong alam. Hindi rin po nila alam. Totoo lamang. Hindi po talaga dumaan sa amin. Kaya nga po nag-create ako ng executive order now bago. O nadadaan sa amin yan, kahit courtesy ko lamang. Kaya nga noong 2020, pinatawag ko siya, napansin ko mukhang hindi nagdadaan sa akin yung mga project nila. Hindi ko alam kung yung mga project nila.
Okay, so
Yep,
Governor,
yeah.
basically what you're saying is parang binabypass yung mga LGU, no? Yung local government.
Ganun nga po. Yung nga po, Provincial Development Council, parang nabypass na.
But parang, Gov, ang nangyayari kasi dito is turuan na lang passing the blame, national, local,
Hindi nga
kept
po,
in the dark.
hindi po natutupad yung, hindi nababypass po yung regional at saka yung PDC.
So what do you propose, Governor?
Yan po
How
nga.
should this be handled so that we can move past the finger pointing?
So, dapat po talaga ay mag-create ang mga congressman na kinakailangan mag-constitutional man lamang sa amin. Yun po yun. Dapat ganun. Kaya nga po ako na mismo gumawa ng sarili kong executive order para dumaan sila lahat at gusto ko makita bago sila gumawa ng project sa lalibigan ng Bulacan.
Okay, Gov, siguro, I'm sorry to have to ask this, pero why only now na inaaksyonan po?
Kaya nga po tumawag ako Kaya nga po pinatawag ko sila kasi napansin ko hindi na dumadaan Kailan po ba ako nagsimula? 2019. Mama, 2019. 2019 po ako naging governor. Nagpandemya ng 2 years. Di po ba? So saan tayo nag-concentrate? Sa pandemic, wala namang ginawa. Di po ba? 2021, 2020, hanggang 2022. 2023, napansin ko, walang umadaan sa akin mga project sila. So nagpatawag ako. Kasi iingi sila ng PDC, kaya tinignan ko. O ngayon 2024, wala silang hiningi para sa budget 2025 na PDC resolution. Wala. Inconsistent nga po, ma'am.
Okay.
Di ba?
Yes. I get it. So
Kaya nga po ngayon, bakit sinasabi nyo, bakit ngayon lang? Kaya nga po nagpatawag ako ng 2026, napansin ko. Hindi ba?
Nagpatawag po kayo when? 2023.
Noong 2023, pinatawag ko yung
Yes.
mga engineering natin ng DP sa Bulacan.
Yes. Anong nangyari doon?
Yan
What
po
came of
yun.
that?
But 2023 po yan.
Yes.
Ayun. Kasi nga po, kaya nung sinita ko sila, sabi ko doon sa mga higher ups engineering officer nila, o yung mga bata nyo, hindi nag-report sa akin ito, para malaman sa akin, para malaman ko ano yung project ninyo. O, sinita nung pinang-higher up, hindi rin kayo dumadaan. Hindi sila nakikibo.
Okay.
Yeah, but what was the
Kaya
outcome?
nga, nag-create ako ng ad hoc committee. Hindi po ba?
Nag-ano po kayo? Sorry?
Nag-convene ng
Nag-create po ako ng
ad hoc committee.
Opo,
Okay,
opo,
so
ad hoc committee.
right. Because I think the question here as well is, okay, may problems with
Ngayon,
the
ma'am, tingnan mo
governance.
na. Nag-create ako ng ad hoc committee. O anong papel ng mga, may mga papel po kaming kanya-kanya. Congressman, DPWH, NIA, ayan po yan. Ang mga city and municipal mayors, ayan po yan. May kanya-kanya po kami mga dapat gawin. Doon sa mga inassign kong mga dapat gawin ng bawat isa. Doon sa DP, anong nakalagay doon sa kanilang function. Sila magsasubmit sa amin na master plan. Wala pong sinamit.
Hindi na po kayo nag-follow up.
Ma'am, inihintay ko nga sila ngayon
No, because, okay,
Inihintay ko nga sila.
Right.
Wala po dalawang hinihingi na naman.
oo. Gov, I understand your point.
Tapos,
Na-
paano ko malalaman ang project nila? Hindi ko alam kung saan nakalagay.
I understand your
Diba?
point na binabypass kayo, but the fact remains that this is your backyard. So kayo po yung nakakakita if
Yes,
the
alam ko po yan, ma'am.
infrastructure
Paano mo
works.
malalaman? Ma'am, paano mo malalaman ng isang lugar kung hindi mo lang kung saan nakalagay? Hindi po ba? Okay, tamo. Nakita nila, may ghost project pala. Paano ko malalaman may ghost pala?
Okay, so
Ghost project pa.
ngayon na ino-audit ninyo, Governor, yung mga lumang proyekto, I just want to clarify, kailan nyo po binuo tong ad hoc committee para silipin yung mga 2023 projects?
2023, ma'am.
Okay. Tapos, ngayon, buo pa rin po ba yung komite?
Yes.
And hanggang saan na po yung naimbestigahan nila?
Ma'am, executive order po yan. Kaya nga nag-violate sila doon sa EO natin.
Okay. So, how far have they gone? No? So, ano na po yung nasilip nila? Yung 2024 po ba? Nasimulan na yung mga proyekto from that year?
Hindi ko po alam kasi hindi man sila nagsabit ng master plan eh. Wala naman sila binibigay sa aming listings eh. Okay, di ba? Wala silang binibigay, ma'am.
So, ano po yung
Wala pong
nakita
binibigay.
ng inyong komite? Ano po yung findings nila? Gov?
Kaya nga, ma'am, ngayon, magkakaroon kami ng sarili naming investigation at hihintayin ko lamang ang investigation ng national. Okay? Para malaman namin.
Okay. I guess we can leave that there. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernando.
Agriculture in Oriental Mindoro was likewise severely impacted by the collapse of a flood control dike in the area. At Barangay Tagumpay in Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro, almost 5 hectares of palay, coconut and banana plantations were buried under rocks and thick sand. That is after their road dike got destroyed when water from the nearby river ravaged them during last month's incessant rains. Per government records, the damages came up to around 77 million pesos. One of the farmers that News 5 spoke to, 64-year-old Mang Fidel, said he had just planted new seedlings when the dike gave way.
Talaga po sayang ang mga namin, gumastos po kami ng malaki sa abono, mga binhi, gamot. Yun po ang problema namin. Ang aming pong kakainin, dito kami nakuha at ang aking pong mga anak ay nag-aaral din, dito rin po kami nakuha ng inaasahang gastusin.
Now, the Oriental Mindoro provincial government is probing 8 other flood control projects in their area that got damaged as well. The DPWH said the 5-year warranty is still in effect on these projects, so contractors are obliged to fix these at no added cost to the government. The Department of Agriculture now also says that the money should have been used instead to fund irrigation, which served a double purpose.
Kung halimbawa, yung binigay na pondo sa flood control, inilaan sa irigasyon, sa irrigation water at saka sa drainage, imagine mo yung, assuming lang, portion nun, 100 billion. Ang daming ektarya mapapatubigan nun. Diba? Meron kang irrigation. Kasi maganda kasi, lalo na doon sa mga dam, pinipigilan yan pati ang pagbaha. Lalo na kung impounding. Plus, of course, kung meron kasing irrigation system, may kaakibat yan na drainage system.
Now, in other news, despite getting no funding in the proposed 2026 national budget, the Ayuda para sa Kapos ang Kita or AKAP program will continue. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman says the program, which is under the DSWD, still has some 11 billion pesos remaining from its 2025 budget allocation. DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian confirmed they will continue the program using the leftover money. Aside from AKAP, the DSWD still has the Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation, or AICS, and Emergency Cash Transfer Program to help financially challenged Pinoys.
Yung programa hindi naman matatapos. So bahagi pa rin sa ng menu ng mga programa namin dahil nga may 11 billion pa na natitira sa line item ng AKAP.
Time to pause for another very quick break, but when we return, as her defense team answered the House's motion for reconsideration regarding her impeachment case, Vice President Sara Duterte is back in The Hague to be with her ICC-detained father and their supporters. We have more stories ahead. Keep it here on One.
Welcome back to the big story. The defense team of Vice President Sara Duterte has filed their comment before the Supreme Court on the House's motion for reconsideration. Attorney Michael Poa confirmed that the filing was made Monday afternoon, August 18th. It is not clear, though, how they responded, and Poa said the team will refrain from making further statements or giving interviews out of respect for the sub judice rule. On that same day, Duterte made a 4-hour layover in Paris, France, while en route to The Hague. She thanked supporters who came to see her on short notice. The vice president is now in the Netherlands to visit her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is detained at the ICC, awaiting his confirmation of charges hearing next month. VP Sara said her father has made clear he will not evade justice and only hopes to return to Davao if granted interim release.
Sorry, just very quickly, I do have an update on that story. We finally got a hold of the copy of the response by VP Duterte's team. Essentially, as expected, her team has asked the Supreme Court to deny the motion for reconsideration. They argue that the House of Representatives' claims in their motion were, quote-unquote, mere diversions obsessed with trivia and blind to the decision's genuine core reasoning.
So I guess we know what's on our plate for tomorrow and the days to come. But in other news, President Bongbong Marcos has ordered the Department of Health to fully implement the government's zero billing policy at all DOH-accredited hospitals amid reports of long lines. He issued this directive on Monday, August 18, during an inspection of the Eastern Visayas Medical Center in Tacloban City. The zero billing scheme, which Marcos announced during his 4th SONA, ensures that patients confined in basic ward rooms of government hospitals will not have to pay out-of-pocket expenses. Marcos said patients should be able to leave the hospital without worrying about additional costs.
Ngayon, we just have to make sure na lahat ng ospital sa buong Pilipinas, alam nila ang procedure. Kasi bago ito, zero billing ang paglabas. Wala na sila, walang dagdag na bayad, wala nang dokumento, wala nang kailangan gawin. Pipirma na lang, pwede na nilang i-uwi ang kanilang pasyente.
That's good news. Zero balance billing across all DOH hospitals. The hope is that they'll be able to implement it ASAP kasi may nawabalitaan tayo that there are long lines and bureaucracy in some hospitals.
Alam mo, minsan may mga ganyang announcement tapos hindi pa pala alam ng
Yes,
hindi
ng hospitals.
Yes.
Exactly. So President Marcos ordered Secretary Ted Urbosa to inform all the hospitals immediately, all the DOH hospitals, that is. But really, the big story is flood control. Flood control.
And this is only the tip of the iceberg. Mga favorite lines natin, di ba?
Open secret. According to Senator Win Gatchalian, it's an open secret. Yung corruption sa flood control.
Martilyo eh.
Meron ako martilyo.
Actually, natakot ako dun.
I don't know if he meant babatuhin niya dun sa resource person or he was gonna bang it to cite him in contempt.
We will never know.
You'll never know.
Basta meron siyang martilyo.
Pero nakakatakot, di ba? May martilyo siya, hinawakan pa niya.
I agree.
I was like,
mga defining moments ng 6-hour, ilang hours yun? 4, 5, 6-hour hearing.
and it's only the first day of that Blue Ribbon Committee hearing.
Beats any teleserye, actually. All right, and that will do it for us this Tuesday evening. Thanks so much for watching The Big Story.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Have a good night. Thanks for watching. Turning it over to...
Are you guys ready over there?
Ready na.
Pwede na.
Coming up next, we have Play-by-Play with Andre and Cheska.
Oh, nice scholar
Hi.
scheme.
Oh, so nanood ba kayo ng Senate
Ganda
hearing?
ng
Or
color
wow?
scheme natin.
Oh,
nga.
It's like Barbie and Ken.
Parang kaming Teletubbies.
It's like Barbie and Ken.
Kami nagpapakaseryoso dito.
Buti si Pauline nag-light color. Kasi if not, baka may wake kayong pupuntahan.
Oh, ano.
It's the death of our taxes.
Oh, yes. I like that. It's the death of the
The death
taxes.
of our taxes.
After
that we
everything
pay.
we found out today
Yes.
at the Senate Blue Ribbon.
Yes.
Nakabukas kayo rin, nakaitim na. Kasi taxes nyo rin yun.
Wala naman. Good news naman sa amin sa sports. Wala naman kaming
I love it. Who won?
Saan?
Teka lang. Kahit saan?
Saan?
Ano to, guys? Ano ba?
Check ikaw. Check ikaw sumagot.
Wait, what? What are we talking about?
Answer, Reg.
Kahit saan. We need a win today. We need a good story, a win.
Okay. Win with what? Bahala na. Basta
Bahala na,
won.
basta
Sa
good story.
panalo.
Thank you once again to, okay na ba? Usually kasi, I don't know if Reg knows already, if Pauline and Sean told Reg, briefed you already. Usually, they end at 8:33. That's on the average.
Okay.
Strict siya sa time.
Oh, it's like
Huh?
we gotta end
What a
now.
shocker.
On the dot.
We gotta be
having
strict
Red
about the
Dot.
time, but you have time to tell us more about the good
Okay, Reg,
stories
all right.
after
Kita
after
mo,
we
grabe
tell you
yan,
about the corruption and the
Pag na
malfeasance.
gano'n yan, baka maano ka ng hand.
We need those 2 extra minutes to forget everything that we learned today.
Thank you. But a great show, as always. The big story. Thank you so much to the ladies of the primetime newscast on One News, to Raj, to Sean, and to Pauline. On our show, well, we don't know who to answer that question from Regina, who won, but we've got the Magnolia Hotshots bidding farewell to one of their longtime players. Plus, we also catch up. Well,